Hey everybody, today is a momentous day because I'm about to do something that I've never done before, not just on Mighty Car Mods, but in my life. I'm about to pick up a brand new car. All right, so here it is. Okay, well that kind of blows the surprise. Anyway, that can go in the bin and this can go, oh, fancy. Ah, there it is. This here is the first customer delivered MK8 Golf R in Australia. So I did have a press car and I was the first person to drive the car on a track, which was very exciting. But this here is my own personal car, which is, well, I'm pretty excited because, as a lot of you probably know, I'm not allowed into my own car because it's locked and it's been covered because they're not actually meant to be released yet. Am I allowed? Have you got a key? Now we can get in and have a look. All right, I think it's proximity, so it should just let me in. And the main thing that I need to see is 14 kilometers on the clock. It smells like a brand new car, which for me is weird because normally the cars that I'm in, let's be honest, they smell like shit. If you want to see all the features about the car, the good, the bad, and the ugly, there's a whole video on that which you can check out up here. Also, if you want to see the car on the racetrack, you can check that out as well. But for now, it's time to take this car straight back to the shed and start the modifications. So this is my brand new MK8 Golf R. It has not been driven at all. Dropped off at the dealer with 14 kilometers on it and brought straight here to Super Garage. Not only have I never had a new car before, it seems like I'm never actually going to get to drive a new car in its stock form because long before this car actually arrived, I started ordering modifications from Europe where these cars have been out for a little while. So today, I'm going to go through and change some of the things that, I'm not as happy with the car as I could be. I made a video about that recently, talking about the things that I thought were great about the car and some of the things that I thought maybe needed some help or some modifications. So I've got those modifications, and today I'm just going to get straight into it. So it's going from dealer to the hoist immediately, and then my first proper drive of the car will be once it has been modified. So let's get it on the hoist, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do to it. So all of the modifications that I've got for the MK8 Golf R, we're doing it super speedy, people. We are doing my complete list of must-do mods on the MK8 Golf R in just one day. That's right, by the end of today, it's going to be done.
The Golf platform is already excellent in standard form, but there's a bunch of simple mods you can do to make it handle better, look tougher, sound angrier, and go faster.
So when it comes to modifying cars, there are a bunch of things that are absolute must when we get a car, and you might have seen our video called Ratchet, which is W-R-E-C-K-I-T, which is an acronym for wheels, rubber, exhaust, coils, springs, kit, intake, and a tune. There are a bunch of things about this car that are already awesome, but there are a bunch of things that I want to change. Now, what is already awesome? Well, on my MK7 Golf R, probably one of the biggest projects was putting a bigger turbo on there and upgrading the fuel system. The MK8 Golf R already has a bigger turbo and an upgraded fuel system, so that is a massive job that is already done. But there are some things that I just want to change really badly, like the wheels, for example, and a bunch of other stuff, which we are now going to install, and I'm going to take you through it as we put the car up on the hoist. I'm excited, people. I'm so excited. It's going to be awesome. Brand new car, modifying straight from the dealer. Madness. What channel are you on? The world's best four-wheel driving channel, damn it. So I've got a couple of friends that are Volkswagen mechanics, and they say that you always have to wear gloves when working on a car. So for them, today, I'm going to put these on. I'm going to see how long I can last, because it makes my hands feel a bit claustrophobic, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's get the factory exhaust and throw it in the bin. Unlike a lot of factory exhausts, the exhaust that Volkswagen have put on the MK8 is actually really substantial. We're going to be changing the back half of it because that's what's available at the moment. Doing turbo back stuff is not really a thing at the moment because nobody's cracked the tune yet. But when I did my review of this car and I had a press car, one of the biggest concerns that I had was actually about the volume of the car. Yes, there is some fake sound getting pumped through the speakers, but I just also wanted a bit more volume down the back. Now, when you're buying aftermarket exhausts, normally there's two options. There's resonated options and non-resonated options. I ran a resonated option on my MK7 Golf R, but this one here, as you can see, is actually not resonated. It's just straight through. So if you did buy a resonated option, you'd probably be going quieter than the factory system. So we're going to get this half of it, that end's going in the bin, and then I'm going to show you what we're replacing it with. So WD-40 is a sponsor of Mighty Car Mods, and over here in Super Garage, which is our new workshop, we've got all of the specialist range. There's everything you could ever need for working on your car. My favorite product, of course, is the Mighty Car Mods Special Edition WD-40. I am going to spray all of the exhaust hangers and just let it soak in for a little bit to make them easier to get off. Even though the car is brand new, I expect that is going to make things a little bit easier. So I'm just going to use some of the specialist silicone, spray that on, get it off, and throw it in the bin. Marty would be proud.
With the exhaust hangers sprayed and this being a brand new car, this should be the easiest exhaust extraction of all time. There's 2 nuts on this slip clamp, and with that loosened, the rear is disconnected. I'm tying up the front part of the pipe so I don't smash my face into it using Mighty Car Mods cable ties, which you can get from the Mighty Car Mods online shop. I'm removing the rear hangers and then unplugging the power to the motors that control the internal exhaust valves. We'll be reusing these later.
Okay, so if I've done this correctly, that has taken a total of 3 minutes. I'm going to lower this down. If I had friends, I'd get someone to help me. Turns out my friends are too busy playing with Toyotas. But this here should... That's it!
In the bin.
Let me show you what we're replacing it with. So I've got a Milltek exhaust here for my Golf R. I ran a Milltek exhaust on my Mark 7 and then also my RS3. Awesome, absolutely awesome. And they sent me this, so thank you very much. Now, this is probably a strange thing to say, but yes, I do want a bit more volume. Actually, what I like least about this exhaust is these tips. Does the fact that they're kind of oval, does that make anyone else feel a bit uncomfortable? Like it feels like a thing that used to be circular and now it's not. It just doesn't seem right. And also, I'm just not a fan of chrome. That's just my personality. I just don't like it. Chrome in the bin. So anyway, let me show you what we're replacing it with. So this here is a specific for Mark 8 Golf, non-resonated exhaust that should have black tips in here somewhere, I hope. Here we go. See, look at this. Let's just get straight into the good stuff, because I can tell you right now, if you're like me, this is just going to excite you with exponential goat extravaganzas. Look at that. Now, that just looks the beans, I reckon. What would you rather have? I'm waiting for you to answer. What would you rather have? It's obviously a bigger pipe. We're going to 3-inch. I am retaining the flappy flaps inside the exhaust, which means that the car can kind of run in its comfort, quiet mode, or you can open them up when you're in your kind of sporty race mode. So the main thing that I've got to do now is I've just got to swap over the little motors. This is the same thing that you would have seen us do on our Mark 7 and also the RS3. There will be, I imagine, some little springs in here as well that can adapt the factory flappers over to the Milltek system. So I'm going to swap that over. Then I'm going to put the rest of the exhaust together with all of the clamps and just put it together loosely, then put it up on the car, and once it's all aligned properly, we can tighten everything up, and then that job is done. So first thing, we remove the factory flappers. So you can see inside the pipe here how the little flappy system works. Depending on what the car's ECU sends this little motor here, that will decide what the motion of this flap is. So there it is closed at the moment, and then when it opens, the motor is literally just turning this little spindle here, which is making that go open or closed. So that really decides whether basically 2 of the pipes of the exhaust are open or whether all 4 are open based on whatever is going on inside of here. So to make this adapt, it will come with an aftermarket spring, which is a little bit longer. So this one here, I gather, will pop off. And then we'll replace this one in the same way, like this. And then that there will go straight onto there. And hopefully once we plug it back in again, it should work.
Some people prefer to have no valves at all and just keep their exhaust open and loud all the time, but you do sometimes hear reports of highway drone or neighbours complaining. So I think being that the technology is already on the car and you've got the option of switching it on or off whenever you like, it's actually the best of both worlds. Now when you're doing an exhaust install on your car, throw your ripped gloves in the bin, lay out all your parts to make sure your aftermarket system is complete, and then start building it on the car in sections. Leave everything loose so that you can tighten it up at the end and make sure that it's all perfectly aligned. When it comes to the tips, put on the clamps but then keep them loose so you can adjust them. Using a can means you can get a straight edge with the rear bar of your car and get them looking exactly as you like them.
So the exhaust is done. That was a relatively quick process. As always with the Milltek stuff, it bolts on really nicely, really cleanly. All I've got to do now is just do a proper measure up to make sure all the tips are perfectly correct, leveled, looking great. But for now, let's drop it down, let's have a listen, see what it sounds like. It looks so much better than the factory one. It sounds better as well. Performance benefit, like we often say, even with a car like a Forester or a WRX, if you put a full exhaust on there, you're probably going to need a tune to activate any of the benefits of that, because the car's going to have certain thresholds that it's trying to hit to try and maintain its power and warranty and all sorts of other things. So performance benefit, that one's uncertain, but certainly once there is a tune and when there's a full exhaust system available, yes, this here can stay and we can just change a component of it and tune the rest. But for now, it's time to move on to wheels and tyres. I have right here something very special because this is a Michelin Pilot Sport 5. This is the 5th generation of the Pilot Sport series. These tyres are used by thousands of people all over the world. People absolutely love them because they're tyres that are used on high-performance sedans, performance cars, and this one here is the new iteration. Now the Pilot Sport 5 is designed obviously for maximum performance and braking in wet and dry, so it's a great all-rounder tyre for the enthusiast. And these are a 235 by 35 in 19, so the same spec as what is on the car already. And what's interesting is that Michelin also claimed that these give you more longevity than all their competitors. And the way they did that testing was actually on a MK8 Golf, which is what I'm working on, which is kind of cool. So they are the new tyres and they are going to be going on a wheel that I really like. And I'm just, a spoiler alert, you've seen this kind of wheel before because I love them, but I am going for that OEM Plus look. I just want the car to be a little fatter, a little wider, a little more fill in the guards, and that is why I'm putting on some REVO RFO wheels. So this here is one of my favorite wheels, and I think on Euro cars they just look absolutely awesome. They're designed in-house by REVO in the UK. A little bit different stance, so the offset slightly different as well, just to make it kind of filled out and a little bit more fat. This here is a flow-formed alloy wheel. They're lighter. They're also made so that they can fit a big brake kit. There's already a big brake kit on here that I'm sure Volkswagen did because they saw one of my videos and thought, that's a good idea. That's not what happened. But if I do want to put on a REVO big brake kit, these will fit. And these, I just love them. Of course, they're black because black is great. Look at that. So I just want to compare the difference between that and the factory wheel. I know some people are into this kind of diamond cut finish thing, but I just think it has nothing on this. Nothing at all. It's going to look so good. So we're going to go from that to that. Black, wide, mad, love it. I said I wasn't going to do it in the last video, but I'm just going to give it a little drop. Just a little bit. I have the most minimal drop that you can get, which is around 20 mil. A lot of people with Volkswagen seem to want to just bag them like properly. I reckon it looks shit. Sorry, it does. But your car, float your own goat as you see fit, and I'll float my goat, and you can tell me my car's too high and I'll go, great. I'll tell you yours is too low, and then we'll high five and we'll get along fine anyway. We'll go drink an apple cider. I'm just going to give it a tiny, tiny little drop because all the stuff's off, and it is also part of the acronym of our Ratchet. wheels, rubber, exhaust, C for coilovers, or for coil springs. So I've got some, I bought them, they came from Germany. We're going to stick them on. Paulie's a real mechanic, I'm not. Paulie, what other considerations are there involved when lowering a car like this?
The biggest thing is just trying to make sure we don't break anything. Normally on these sort of cars, when you're changing the shocks, you don't have to worry about sensors on the bottom of the shock here. Just take that off, make sure that we're not breaking any plugs, anything like that. This little sensor controls the sort of flow of oil inside the shock for shock settings, stuff like that. And then you've got little sensors here that actually read the sort of level of the car for your adjustable headlights, all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah.
They are pretty flimsy, so you don't really want to break that when you're busy fighting shocks and dropping arms and doing all that sort of fun stuff. So just be careful of electronics.
Yeah.
Careful of the smarts.
Okay, cool. Well, I suggest what we do is we just do this one first.
Yeah.
Kind of learn what we're doing, and then jump over to the other side. It
less.
feels like there's a little bit more going on than in a Daihatsu Kure, just saying.
Well, considering this is the size of the wheel of a Daihatsu.
Yeah, that's true.
Coilovers are also a popular option, but what you gain in adjustability, you lose in daily usability. The Golf comes with adaptive chassis control and electronically adjusts the dampers based on road conditions, steering, braking and acceleration. And this is something that I'd like to retain.
I'm back where I belong, people. On my back, on the floor, under the Volkswagen. It's great. So rear passenger side is done. Now I'm going to move over to the rear driver's side. The fronts are obviously way more complicated, so there's, it takes a little bit of time to work out exactly what to do over there. We feel like we are close to kind of working that out. Paulie's got his engineering and exploration hat on. I'll move to the other side. We'll get to the front shortly.
The rear springs are way quicker to change than the front because they're installed independently of the shocks. But you still want to make sure that everything is properly torqued to spec and aligned perfectly. With that done, we can move on to finishing the suspension on the front of the car. This is a little bit more complex than the rears, but once you've done one side, it makes it way easier to do the other.
And that is why the RYOBI Ratchet is my favourite tool in the line. Done! Car's lowered. Don't worry about all this other stuff still around us. It's done. You obviously can adjust it and make it exactly what you want if you've got adjustable springs or if you've got coilovers, but I wasn't exactly sure whether I was going to be running the stock height or just a little bit lower. But as it is now, I actually think it looks really good. Like maybe it's a tiny bit lower than I was expecting, but this is the most subtle version of lowering you can get with what is currently available. But when there is a new platform like this, it does take a bit longer until parts and stuff come out. And it was the same with my Forester XT back in the day. Now you can look online and everybody's got all the recipes, but with the Mark 8, some Mark 7 parts fit, some don't. So it just takes a little while to kind of work it all out. But I'll show you what it looks like because I reckon it looks pretty freaking awesome actually. You can see the drop down here. So it's not fully tucked in there, but you've still, get a finger or two in there. So that's the kind of gap we're getting, which looks really good. So these springs I think are a 25mm drop on the front and on the back a 20mm. And it looks like that. I'm not really a fan of kind of having the arch over the top of the wheel, like, it was a really big thing kind of in the early 2000s, and I never really liked it then, and I'm not really a massive fan of it now either. But I think for kind of a moderate drop, this is considered a moderate drop, I think that actually looks really good.
Next up, it's time to do the tint. This is a relatively cheap way of making your car look way better for just a couple of $100s. It also has a lot of practical benefits like privacy, blocking heat and blocking UV rays. The Golf came with privacy glass on the back as standard, so I'm hoping to match the front to make the whole car look more uniformed.
The tint is done and I'm starting to get really excited. A tint is kind of something that really can transform the look of your car. It's looking nice and black. I'm obviously going for a black and blue. Surprise, surprise. That's the kind of look that I'm going for. Wheels and tyres are going to be back here soon as well. Next is these kind of chromy mirror caps. Now it turns out, I didn't know this even though I've owned a whole lot of Golfs, apparently that is like a signature look of Golf R stuff. And now the three colours you can get of this car, which is blue, white and black, they come with these chrome mirror caps. I don't love it, so I was going to either wrap them or paint them, and then I realised that there's probably other people that don't like them either, and you can actually buy mirror caps. So I got these off the internet from overseas. This is a genuine Volkswagen mirror cap, I hope. I haven't even unwrapped it yet, but I hope that's what it is. That is gloss black. It's got the little cutout here because this is kind of some, when you're driving along, it lets you know whether there's cars next to you or not. So that there is a genuine Volkswagen gloss black item, and that there is going to go on there. Now, this is not like one of those eBay carbon fibre things that you just stick over the top. This is actually a replacement. To replace these, you need to actually kind of punch the mirror out, and by punch the mirror out, I mean you've got to get your fingers in behind the glass and just pull it, and it's attached with a kind of a, it's attached with a couple of clips that do break. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do now. I have read on the internet that it seems like 50% of the people that do this break the glass. So, all right, let's go.
First, you have to yank the mirror out, and then there's a couple of clips holding the cover in place. We've made a full how-to video on this on our second channel, MCMTV2, as changing the mirror caps is a pretty popular change for a lot of people. With the components swapped over into the new cover, it can be reinstalled on the car. Plug the mirror back in, then push it into the socket and it's done. And it looks so much better. Okay, with that done and the clock ticking, it's time for me to unbox my new REVO rims and install the Michelin Pilot Sport 5 tyres.
A massive thanks to Sam from EK. Where is he? He's down here. He's hiding, but yeah, he lets us use his tyre changing machine. Thank you, mate. You're looking sharp.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you, mate.
Likewise.
All right, so our wheels and tyres have been fit, and now we are doing a black roof. So the guys from ProVinyl are down here, and I'm not doing the whole spoiler and all of that kind of stuff because I actually kind of like that part of the car looks blue, but we are following on the rest of the roof. So obviously the first half of it up to here looks black anyway because it's the big panoramic sunroof, but we're continuing all the way up to here so that the whole of the top of the car looks black. That part there will remain blue. And then we're getting close, people, wheels and tyres going on, and then a couple of little spicy things just to finish with, and it's looking awesome. Very excited.
Wrapping or painting a car can be an absolutely massive job, but it is possible just to wrap some components of your car, whether it's your bumper, whether it's your mirror caps, or whether it's your roof, to get a different kind of look, which you can do quickly and for not much cash. We've got a whole DIY video on this, which you can check out on our channel.
So Dean, obviously the outcome of when you're wrapping a car, a lot of that comes down to the quality of the wrap you're actually installing. So this is 3M wrap, which obviously costs a bit more, but what is the difference between this and some of the cheap wrap that you'd get on eBay?
So with this is a cast material, so essentially it's more conformable and flexible than your average wrap, where some of the ones that you get off eBay are monomerics and polymerics, where they're for flat surfaces or slightly bended. The difference between a monomeric, if you try and put it on a curved surface, as soon as it goes into a recess, you can heat it up, but it's eventually going to pop out, whereas compared to the cast material, you'll put it into a recessed area, heat it up, and it's going to stay there for the long term.
With this, because there's these ribs underneath it, we're actually squashing the air into these channels.
Correct.
And then squeezing it out the side,
Yeah.
right? In an ideal scenario, these guys here would remove absolutely everything from the car. Because we're trying to get this done quickly, because we've got a lot of stuff to do and we want to have the car pretty much finished today, instead we've measured out where this antenna is and we've cut it out, and then the vinyl's going to be poked in underneath the rubber seal. Thanks, Dean.
No worries, man.
I would say that's a wrap. Sorry, I'm sorry. Thanks so much for coming down.
No worries,
Thanks,
buddy.
Shane. So this, people, is a very exciting moment because this is kind of make or break for the look of your car. It's time for the wheels and tyres to go on, see what that combination looks like with our lowered springs, I'm getting excited. I started excited, I'm still excited, and I will remain to be excited.
Regardless of what other mods you're embarking on for your project, your wheels and tyres are most likely going to have the biggest impact on the look and performance of your car, which is why they are the first two letters of our Ratchet modification plan. And these look amazing.
Okay, the wheels are on. We're going to put the car down on the ground so I can torque them up to spec. Then I'm just going to put these factory little kind of wheel nut covers back on just so it looks nice and black. And then, people, we get to see it for the first time lowered with mad wheels and tyres. So the Golf is slowly becoming the kind of car that I reckon it should have been from the factory. It's looking nice and low, mad, black, chromey stuff's gone, wheels, tyres, exhaust, excellent. But now I've got a little lip kit to go on. I can't actually remember what it looks like, to be honest, because I ordered this a long time ago from Europe. But I'm going to open it up and have a look. And this is just going to add to the ground effects. Now, if you want to run a lip kit on your car, you can do it even just with garden edging. We've done a whole video about that, which you can check out. But I think maybe sticking some garden edging on a new Golf is not the greatest idea. But in here I have, oh yeah, I see what's going on in there. Have a look at this, people. All right, we've got, it's like side skirts and front lip. What is that? That must be a little rear thing. I can't remember. I can't remember what I bought. I'm going to pull it out. I got to say already, I'm not a massive fan of just all the hardware just floating around in there like some kind of kid's shaker toy. Couldn't you just put it in a bag? Like, is that not going to scratch things up even more while I'm showing you right now? Anyway, I'm going to cut a little hole here, get all my hardware out, and then here we go. Let's see if I can get this stuff out. Is this little logo here, is that not meant to be in the middle of the bar? Like, I'm pretty sure that's meant to, there's 4 little noggins here. That's the center. Why have they stuck it there? I reckon that's just a mistake. I actually don't know if this looks great or whether it doesn't look good. Can I show you and you tell me what you think? There it is without, and then here it is within. Are you vibing on that or not, people? I'm actually keen to know what you think, because I can't really see from here, but I'll take it away again. So there it is on there, and then there it is off. What do you reckon? On or off? Let me know. That'll help me decide whether I stick this on. So I'm slowly turning this Volkswagen Golf R into the kind of Golf R that I reckon it should have been from the factory. But now it's time to install the most important modification you can do on this vehicle. But before I show you what that is, a quick word from our sponsors, Mighty Car Mods. This episode of Mighty Car Mods is proudly brought to you by Mighty Car Mods mugs. We've got 3 mad epic mugs for you, whether it's your business, whether it's an office, whether you're on the run from the police or from someone you know, or you're just in your car and you want some mad hot or cold bevies as you're rolling like a boss. We have got the Mighty Car Mods Enamel mug. This one here is great for workshops because you just can't break it. It's chopped, it's awesome. We have the Mighty Car Mods ceramic mug for those of you that are a little bit fancier. This here is black on the outside with red on the inside for an extra 25 Celsiuses of power. And then we also have this one, which is the Mighty Car Mods travel mug, which is double wall insulated, vacuum sealed, and stainless steel, which is great for those of you that drink hot or cold drinks while you're on the run. You can get all of those from the Mighty Car Mods website. For a car that's in this class, I actually find it quite strange that it does not have a gas strut. So this is still running the old school hood latch like this, but Volkswagen has a provision down here. Maybe there was a fancier version, but I don't know really if there is, because this is the fanciest version of the Golf R Mark 8 that we get in Australia, for a gas strut. So I have purchased a gas strut and I'm going to install it so that the car's engine bay can be as fancy as it deserves to be. I'm trying to be professional by using a fender cover, and now that that's installed, I will actually be doing all of my work from over here. Now, here is my gas strut. that I got off the interballs, and it said, I've never seen something like this before. It says it includes an installation tool. That is the installation tool. It looks like, oh, do you know what that is? Can anyone work it out before I tell you? Can you see what that is? That there is the piece of metal that goes along the top of a file to hold your files in a filing cabinet. And they've used some electrical tape to tape that onto this little noggin. And that is the free installation tool that I just hit myself in the nose with. Hey, if it works, right? We've just realized that the special tool, it's so special that my hand actually just hits up behind there. So, you know, I really appreciate it. Now do you know what's going to happen though?
We're going to drop
I'm going to take that off and I'm going to drop it all the way down there. And then who's laughing? So I'm going to leave it on there. I'm going to leave it on there, and here we go. So that's going to go up to there. That one there is going in. But then how do you remove it? You reckon you're just meant to yank it? Hey! All right, I am loving my bunny strut, which is what I'm going to call a bonnet strut from now on because it jumps up and down, and it's awesome. The car already has the facility to install it. So if you have one of these, you should just do it. And if you're lucky, yours will also come with the filing cabinet install tool. Let's take a quick recap of where we are with our Ratchet Golf R. W, wheels, done. R, rubber, done. E, exhaust, done. C, coils, springs, done. K for kit, not sure. You're going to let me know in the comments whether you think I should go ahead with that lip kit or not. T, there are no tunes, so we've done the tint instead, but that leaves I for intake. Now, eventually I'm going to do like a proper cold air intake thing, but for now, these engines actually sound really good when they're opened up a little bit. So I've just bought a kind of a pod filter intake thing, so I'm going to install that. And then the car is going off for paint correction, ceramic coating, and PPF to keep the front of it all looking protected and mad. So we're jumping into that next, but for now, I'm just going to install this pod filter so we can hear the awesomeness of this EA888 engine. All right, the stage 1 modifications of this Golf Mark 8R are all done. I'm loving it. I think it looks awesome. Now I just got to make sure it stays looking fancy because, like I said, I've never had a new car before, and this is the first and only customer Mark 8 Golf R in Australia right now, so I feel pretty lucky to have the first one. I want to keep it looking mad. I want to keep it looking awesome, so I'm going to do something that I've never done before, and that is the ceramic coating and the PPF. So that is the next thing on our list, and then this first stage is completely done.
I'm driving out to see Mitch at Sydney Premium Detailing to get the Golf's paint protected and coated, which will keep it looking as good as it can for as long as possible.
There's some freaking awesome cars here. What is it that you do exactly?
Basically specialise in paint correction, ceramic coatings and paint protection film, which is what we're going to do to your brand new Golf. So main reason why we do all these things, keep them protected. Keep them looking as good as possible for as long as possible. What
is paint correction? Because like this car now has like 40 Ks on it. It's straight from the factory. Is it not already corrected from Germany?
Yeah, so we can sort of see in the lights here as well, just looking over it quickly, there are minor blemishes in the paintwork. We want to get all those out through paint correction, which is basically machine polishing, and then we put the film over it, looks perfect.
Awesome. Yeah. So you clean up any blemishes, then cover it in film, and then the film is coated to make it look like a car.
So the film's
surface?
also coated, but not only that, it's self-healing as well. So even if you get these minor wash scratches, or we call them love marks because you love it and you touch it and you want to feel it and everything, they'll self-heal. So a bit of heat in the sun, heat gun, even just temperature from the engine
Yeah.
will heal those swells out, make it awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How long is that process? It sounds like that takes some time. Like we're not going to be finished in the next 2 hours.
No, so for your car, we're doing the whole front of the car, and then we're also ceramic coating the rest of the vehicle. So it's about a 4-day process.
It's been a big day so far getting all of these mods done. But now my Mark 8 Golf R can just sit back and relax and get ready for a mad treatment with some chill beats. The car is done and it looks absolutely amazing. The guys spent a lot of time making sure it was perfect and they have smashed it out of the park. I'm so happy with the result, and to be honest, I actually didn't think it would be possible to make a car look this good when it was already brand new, and now it's also properly protected. I'm so happy with all of the mods on the car, and it's that perfect OEM Plus look that I was going for, with the addition of that louder exhaust, an intake just a bit lower, the black highlights and tints, and of course those rad wheels and tyres. When you're modifying your car like this, you want to make sure that you're fully covered, which is why we're insured with Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. There's agreed value, and these days, your modified car may be worth even more than you think it is. So get a quote from the Shannons website.
So everybody, that is the Mark 8 Golf R project. There was a lot of work to be done, but it was all possible in just 24 hours, except for, of course, the final stage, which is the paint protection and ceramic coating. That was there for a couple of days, and now the first stage is done. The car has been wrecked. We wrecked it. The purity out the window. But now, I know what you want to do. You probably want to come for a drive, so we're going to go for a drive. You're coming with me. Let's go next time on Mighty Car Mods. Of course, if you want to support the show, you can get a mad hoodie like this Mighty Car Mods hoodie. You can get them from mightycarmods.com. There's a link down below. Thank you very much for watching. To all the Euro fans out there, how you doing? All the Japanese fans, how you doing? America, Australia, wherever your vehicle is from, you're all welcome. Mighty Car Mods, a family of nugget-loving people. You, me, nuggets for everyone. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. Marty will be back. He's been with his Toyota friends.